Hey, what's going on, Peter? My name is Jack here with Rocketship SEO. Thanks for trying out the site auditor. I hope you got some insight out of that. I wanted to follow up here and do a video analysis of your website and provide some further insight as a search marketer in terms of what's been working out for you in your SEO and what hasn't, and kind of go from there, all right? So without further ado, let me go and get started. The first thing I did was I pulled up your website here in a tool called Ahrefs. Ahrefs allows search marketers like myself to look at the metrics of a website and see what's been working out for you. So what I can see right off the bat is you just don't have a lot of referring domains and backlinks pointing to your website, which is going to be a huge problem because we just need more of those things to happen in order to build the authority on your website, because the authority in turn has a very, very integral role in Google's algorithm and how highly you rank for the keywords you want to rank for and how quickly you rank for that for those once your authority is established. And so essentially what a backlink and referring domain is, it's any website out there that's talking about you by linking back to your website by a hyperlink. So for example, if there is a blog out there that's called the designblog.com, and they mention you in a blog post and they say, hey, if you're looking for the best hardware and software solutions for design and engineering, that kind of thing, check out goxti.com. And then if the person clicked on that link, it would take them directly to your website. So just in the fact they have that hyperlink that links back to your website is actually tracked by Google. And Google uses that information to basically determine how authoritative your website is. Because when you have these links that are linking back to your website, it basically tells Google that you're the kind of website that other websites like to talk about. They're basically like, hey, go check this website out. They're basically referring their own visitors to your website. And so Google's eyes, that's a very powerful trust signal. And what they do is they give you more authority based on how many people are basically talking about you and linking back to you. And so we need to absolutely make sure that we are on top of building out the referring domains and backlinks to your website, because that's really going to build the, start ranking you for all the different keywords we want to capture. I would shoot for about 300 to 400 referring domains on closer to 3,000 to 4,000 backlinks, and that's really going to help you out in this space. Let's take a look and see what kind of keywords you currently rank for. Not a lot. Yep, not a lot. So we just got some work to do. Authority is going to be a big part of that role. The other thing is you just don't have enough content on your website for Google to understand what your website really is about. So it's goxti.com, right? Goxti.com is a brand name, and it has nothing to do with not necessarily anything to do with the product and service that you provide, which is hardware and software solutions, right? And so right off the bat, in the URL, Google's not able to recognize what your website is about. And then right here, your title tag, your title meta is basically Expandables Technologies Incorporated. Okay, so we got the word technologies in there, but that doesn't tell Google exactly what the website is about still, because it could be a blog about technology, it could be an affiliate website that talks about technology, it could be a forum that talks about technologies in the space, right? And so Google's not going to understand exactly what your website is about, which is why you're not ranking for the keywords that we want to capture. In this instance, it would be things like hardware, software solutions, and things like that, right? So you do have your H1 tag, and your H1 tag says passionate innovation creates marvels. So now we're kind of getting somewhere, but the fact that you just don't have enough content outside of this right here, this content is about 75 words of content. We need to shoot for closer to about 700 to 1,500 words of content, especially on your homepage, because Google can't go in and look at your website and say, hey, look at this background image of this, look at this hardware and software solutions. This has to be about hardware and software solutions. Like, Google's algorithm currently can't read pictures and determine exactly what that is. I mean, you can add alt tags, but anyone can abuse that, because you could just have a random image up there and put an alt tag under the keyword that you want to capture, and that's not really relevant. That's not the kind of websites that Google wants to show up. But they can absolutely read content, right? So Google's crawlers crawl through the hundreds of millions of websites every single day, and they crawl through your web content and your web page, and they can hash out group ideas together. Their algorithm is smart enough that they can start understanding exactly what your website is about based on the content. So in the past, things like meta keywords used to be have a huge impact on your SEO ranking. So when you go into the back end of your website, you could type in a bunch of meta keywords that you would like to rank for in Google. Now Google doesn't take that into account at all, 0%. The reason being is anyone can, like I said, just like with the alt tags, anyone could just go in there and just stuff a bunch of keywords that they wanted to rank for and start getting credit for it, and there was no real effort that was being built into the website. And Google recognized this, and so what they did was they actually differentiated separated between the ones that are putting a lot of content and putting a lot of work into their content that's engaging, that's being shared, and that kind of thing, and then gave them a lot more credit for the keywords they want to capture, as opposed to people that didn't have as much content. Because if you think about it, an authoritative person that has a lot of time, that put a lot of time into their website, gets a lot of engagements and things like that, are the kinds of people that have a lot of knowledge in the space. And so they're going to have hash out tons and tons of content that's relevant to the space that they're involved in. And it's just going to be one of those things that a lot of people like to talk about because it's good content. And so we just need to make sure at the end of the day, you have more content, and the content is part of the niche that you provide. So we'll make sure that the content has all the SEO elements on there, so you're not overstuffing your keywords into your content and triggering Google's flag, which causes you to negatively be impacted. And then things like keyword cannibalizations in your different pages that are ranking for the same keywords. We want to watch out for that kind of thing. But like I said, at the end of the day, content is king nowadays. So we need to make sure we build the content on your website, continue to do the outreach and build the authority on your website, because that's all going to have a huge, huge impact in Google's algorithm right now and your rankings. So there's a host of other things that I didn't talk about that that affects your SEO rankings and stuff like that. But things like making sure that your header tag is good, your meta description, all that stuff is good, impacts your SEO maybe like 2 to 5%. And then it's the links and the content that affects 60 to 70% of your overall SEO ranking. And so, you know, why focus 90% of your energy on the results that are doing 2% of your actual results in ranking, then instead of focusing on the things that affect 60 to 70% of your ranking profile. So I absolutely highly recommend that you look into building out the content, building out the authority on your website by having more links pointing back to your website. And then just to make sure that you have social engagements. Social engagements is just another one of those things that Google's taking into account now. So when you have content out, when you have a blog, I highly recommend getting a blog. Make sure that you have social places that people can share and things like that. And then, I mean, at the end of the day, make sure your content is awesome, you know, right? Because what that does is it does so many things for your website. It builds trust in your website for the people that are actually visiting it and reading it, because they're like, holy crap, this content is awesome. I learned a lot from this. Two, Google can go in there and recognize that your website has more content, like I said, which affects your rankings. And the third thing is you're able to basically convert the people that are visiting your website into people that are going to be talking about it. So they're going to be sharing it. They're going to be linking back to your website and building your authority that way. So lots of good stuff there, and I just highly recommend that you do that, because it's just going to impact your website and really get you ranking for all the different keywords you want to capture, all right? So at the very least, I hope you got some insight out of that, Peter. All the stuff that I talked about just now is something that we absolutely do here at Rocket Ship SEO. We take care of the outreach for you. Even if you don't have enough content, we just ask you a few questions about the industry, and then we have in-house content writers here in-house that we can obviously connect you with and make sure that you get the content that you need. All right? So appreciate it, Peter, and I look forward to talking to you soon, all right? Thank you.